Welcome back to this second part of our teaching. And now we're going to be saying this, that cutting down our idols is a painful process. Cutting down our idols is a painful process. Gideon felt that. And if you want to know the blessing of God upon your life, then you will also need to know not only the necessity, but the pain of cutting down idols. Well, Gideon in the story goes through with the plan. He hacks the Asherah pole to pieces. He desecrates the altar to Baal, and on that combination, he builds a new altar. He uses the wood to create flame, and he offers a burnt sacrifice to Yahweh, declaring in no uncertain terms that Yahweh is God. He is the God of Israel. There is no other gods. There is no other idols. Every other idol is a lie. Every other idol will suppress and destroy you. God alone is the God of Israel. And the people of the town were incensed. They were enraged. They came out and said, "Bring out your son Gideon. He must die because he has broken down the altar of Baal and he has cut the Asherah down beside it." Why do they want his blood? Why don't they just say, "Oh, well, sure, it was just an idol"? Why the reaction? Well, Gideon had quite literally cut down their savior. He had destroyed their deliverer. He had hacked their God down. He had mocked him and proclaimed that Yahweh alone is God. They responded, the townspeople responded like that because their idols were attacked. And it's no wonder, is it? Because in those idols and what they represented, the people of this particular tribe found their hope, found their security, found their identity even. And when Gideon hacked them to pieces, all that stuff was gone. They were vulnerable. It was a painful process. They felt that life was quite simply not worth living if these idols were removed. Suddenly their control mechanisms were gone. Their security, their safety was all literally up in smoke because Gideon had burned it. See, they hadn't discovered the true God. They hadn't discovered Yahweh. Even though they knew about him, they hadn't discovered him. Because if they had, the people of Israel would have found him fulfilling. If they would have failed him, they would have found him forgiving. Unlike the idols that enslave and demand, God isn't like that. Yahweh is not like that. They hadn't come to see Yahweh as truly good, as goodness himself. They hadn't come to see him as dependable, as the one that they cry out instantly to save them. They hadn't seen Yahweh as the one who is able to deliver them from their enemies. They forgot Yahweh, and their hearts instead clung to other idols. You see, we all have idols in some form or other. That's the reason why we sin in the first place, because we love something more than we love God. That's why we sin. And we need them to be removed if we are to experience the blessing of God. We can't know the blessing of God whilst we're busy serving idols. And it hurts to remove idols. It is painful to remove idols. Cutting down our idols is a painful process, tearing ourselves away. But it is a necessary process if we are to know the blessing of God. Often people, like the townspeople in Gideon's day, often people respond in one of two ways when their idols are threatened or cut down or removed or toppled from their location. People may become aggressive, like these townspeople, hostile, defensive, angry, go down that route, or can go in the other direction. Because when the idols are gone or toppled or undermined in somehow, people can become despondent or drained or depressed. They become passive, devastated, because their source of security, their peace and hope has been removed. This is what happens, folks, when our idols are pointed out or shaken or exposed or challenged in some way. Here's an example. For example, if during the aging process, as we get older, we may find ourselves becoming increasingly depressed and even devastated at the signs of aging in our bodies, because we used to be beautiful. That used to be the thing that we clung to for our identity and our security, our beauty. It was powerful. But when that starts to fade away, as it inevitably will do, We become devastated, we become depressed, we start sacrificing all of our money to try and regain that beauty that we once had. Well, here's another example. Maybe you miss out on that job opportunity that you looked to and considered to be the thing that would get you that peace and get you that security if you had it, if you possessed that job or that title. But you miss that job opportunity and instead you go into overdrive mode. You overwork. You sacrifice your time that you should be spending with your family and loved ones in order to gain another promotion or gain that respect that you feel like you were lost. Maybe you had a breakup from a romantic relationship. And yes, that is painful. Yes, it is sad when those things happen. But months later, you are still in the depths of despair and depression with no signs of recovery because you have lost that thing that you thought would provide you life and security and significance and identity. And when that relationship ends, it feels like your life is ending. We all have, you see, idols, and they manifest themselves in various ways, but when they are shaken or toppled or hacked down, we respond in these ways. These idols lurk, you see, in the dark corners of our hearts. They blend in. We often don't know they're there until they get threatened or taken apart. But you see, it is so necessary for us to deal with the idols of our hearts, because even though cutting down our idols is a painful process, God's blessing cannot come unless we deal with our idols. No amount of idolatry is okay. Israel found that out. You can't have God and other idols at the same time. God will not tolerate sharing glory with anyone else. He alone is God. Everything else is his creation. He will not tolerate, he will not share that. No amount of idolatry is okay. As soon as they are discovered, detected in our hearts, we must take every opportunity to hack them down, tackle them, remove them, because only then can we know the blessing of God in our lives. How can we as a church hope to move forward if we're not tackling the idols that exist in our lives or even within our church? And what about you as you look and as you listen to these things? Why don't you ask yourself right now? Ask God to highlight idols in your life, idols in your heart. Ask him to give you the power to do something about them, not just to identify them, but power to remove them, power to hack them down like Gideon the chopper, power to hand them over so that God might take his rightful place, because it's only when God is in control of your life that blessing will come. Maybe you need to get alongside others in your community in order to help you do that. It is difficult to hack down idols on our own. It is through confession, through sharing, through accountability, through loving, grace-filled gospel community that we can best tackle our idols, not on our own, but we can say to our friends, to our fellow members of our church, brother, sister, help me. Here's something that I think God is identifying in my life. Can you help me? Can you get alongside me? Can you pray for me? Can you help me to deal with this practically? I think this idol has control of my life. It is exerting more influence than it should, more influence than God does. Help me. See, that is the joy of being in gospel community. And if you're not part of a church community already and you'd like to be, we'd love to get in touch with you. We'd love to connect with you at Foundation Church. Drop us an email, contact us through social media. We'd love to connect and help and serve you in any way we possibly can at Foundation Church. Maybe you need to come on your knees before God and say, take back control, Lord. That relationship has taken too much of me. My hunger and thirst for success in this particular area of my life, in my studies or in my work or whatever it happens to be, has owned me. I turn away from that. I confess my love for this idol, which is greater than my love for you. God, save me. God, free me from the oppression of this idol See, cutting down an idol is a painful process, but it is the path to the blessing of God. But there is good news. There is good news because when you pray that prayer and you ask for that help and you seek that power, God can and will provide it. We'll look at that in part 3 in our series.